We live in a time where many people share almost everything. Every meal, every walk, every practiced smile in front of a mirror ends up as a post or a story. And I'm not here to judge that. It's simply a mirror of a world that has taught us that if something isn't shared, it somehow doesn't fully exist. But there is another kind of woman out there. Quiet, unseen, different. She doesn't fill her feed with personal photos. She doesn't record every moment of her life. And because of that, she seems to exist outside the game everyone else is playing. Here is the uncomfortable truth. She is the real focus of this message because she understands something most people miss. She understands that constantly exposing yourself is not strength. It's often the opposite. Choosing privacy can be a sign of intelligence. You might ask why a woman would choose to stay in the background when everyone else is chasing attention. The answer goes deeper than it looks. She doesn't avoid posting because she lacks confidence. She avoids it because she knows the cost. She has learned what others haven't realized yet, that every image you give to the world is a piece of yourself placed in someone else's hands. And she refuses to give herself away so cheaply. Here's something very few people say out loud. Not posting, not showing your life, not placing yourself on display as an act of power. It's quiet, yes, but it's meaningful. When everyone else rushes toward visibility, the woman who steps back is not falling behind. She is choosing a different road, one where her sense of self doesn't depend on approval. And that kind of intelligence isn't measured in likes or views. It's measured in freedom. Think about what it really means to stay private online. It means your story, your steps, your most personal moments stay within a circle you choose, not inside a glass box open to strangers. It means you don't need to turn every experience into proof just to feel it mattered. It's like holding a secret. What you keep for yourself gains more weight, more meaning, and it's not a coincidence that the most important moments in your life are rarely the ones you share. When was the last time you posted real pain? A raw tear, no filter, no performance. Almost never. And the women who choose not to post know this. They understand that life was not meant to be an exhibition. It was meant to be lived, but there's more beneath that choice. There is a social element that many overlook, control of the story. When you share everything, your life feels open, available, almost public. And that invites opinions, judgments, even a sense that others have a say in your choices. But the woman who keeps distance, who shares little, becomes a mystery. And mystery, in a world drowning in information, is power. What is hidden creates curiosity. What is constantly shown loses its impact. This is where many people get confused. They believe visibility equals influence. But real influence often comes from restraint. Think about women who rarely post, who stay quiet, yet when they speak or appear, people notice. Why? Because their presence hasn't been worn down. They haven't spread themselves thin across hundreds of small moments. Their absence builds anticipation. And anticipation is far more powerful than constant exposure. Here is the psychological truth most people miss. Showing less can actually mean showing more. Scarcity turns something ordinary into something valuable. One photo, one sentence can carry real weight when it comes from someone who doesn't constantly put herself on display. Compare that to someone who posts nonstop. Over time, her image becomes predictable, repetitive, almost invisible in the noise. The women who stay silent understand this. They know that in a world full of excess, restraint has value. There is also a deeper layer tied to identity and authenticity. Posting all the time creates dependence on outside validation. The brain starts to crave those small hits of approval from likes and comments. Slowly, often without noticing, life stops being about what you feel and becomes about how you appear. What you eat, where you go, what you wear starts to serve the audience instead of the experience. Life becomes a display window instead of something real. And what do women who don't post do differently? They step out of that cycle. They live moments without wondering how they will look online. They eat without photographing. They travel without announcing. They laugh without evidence. And psychologically, that is powerful, because it means their life is real, not filtered through performance. They reclaim something many people lose over time, the ability to live for themselves. And notice this, because here lies a brutal paradox. Those who don't post are often labeled as reserved, shy, even dull. But the truth is this: while others trade their private moments for small bursts of attention, these women guard their inner world like something precious. And inside that quiet space, inside that seeming absence, they build something strong, an invisible fortress. A fortress that doesn't need approval because it is already whole. So let me ask you this. Who is really stronger? The woman who needs to show herself to feel real, or the woman who feels so complete that she doesn't need to prove anything at all? The answer is clear, but it makes people uneasy. Most would rather keep posting than sit with that truth. And here is what genuinely fascinates me. Choosing not to post is also an act of rebellion. A quiet rebellion against a system that demands visibility. A system that pushes you to expose yourself, to turn your life into a display, to become another item in a global window. When you refuse, you step outside consumption. You become someone who can't be reduced to numbers or likes. And that kind of invisibility is strength. Because in a world obsessed with being noticed, the ability to disappear is a privilege held by the most thoughtful women. So the question comes back again: do you post to connect, or do you post to be seen? Because those are not the same thing. Connection is real, it's close, it's human. Being seen is shallow, temporary, driven by ego. And the women who don't post have already decided. They choose real connection, even if it's quiet, over loud and empty exposure. So let me leave you with something to think about. What is left of you when the camera is off? If your life feels like it vanishes without a post, then maybe it was never fully yours to begin with. And this is where I want to take you a little deeper, into a space we rarely talk about when discussing social media, the idea of silence as identity. Because just as some women build their image through constant sharing, others build theirs through absence. And that absence is not emptiness, it's intention. Silence isn't the lack of a voice, it's another kind of voice, one that carries more weight than constant noise. What's interesting is how these women begin to carry a certain presence. They become intriguing. You don't know where they are, what they're doing, or who they spend their time with. And that mystery creates something no algorithm can manufacture: respect. In a world where everything is revealed, what stays hidden becomes valuable. Diamonds aren't scattered on the ground. They're found deep below the surface. What is rare, what is protected, naturally draws curiosity. There's also a social detail worth noticing. When you don't post, when you don't turn your life into a performance, you make people approach you with sincerity if they want to know you. Instead of scrolling through your life, they have to speak to you, ask you, build trust with you. And that acts as a filter. Your relationships become fewer, but deeper. The people who know you don't know you because they saw it online. They know you because you chose to share yourself with them directly. And that changes everything about the bond you create. So ask yourself this: how many of your relationships exist only because of what you post? If you stopped sharing tomorrow, how many people would still truly care? The answer might feel uncomfortable, but it's also honest. And women who don't post learn early how to separate real interest from passing curiosity. Psychologically, that gives them a powerful advantage. Now let me add something you may not expect. Not posting also lets you experience life without constantly performing. How often have you gone somewhere thinking about the picture, the angle, the right moment to pull out your phone? The second you do that, The moment becomes a stage. You're no longer at the beach to feel the water. You're there so others can see that you were there. You're no longer eating to enjoy the meal. You're eating so someone else can tap a heart. And that drains you. What women who don't post do is step off that stage. They stop acting and start living. And here's the part that unsettles people the most. When you don't post, you remove yourself from constant judgment. There's nothing to pick apart. No image to critique, no comparison to make. And inside that absence of judgment lies a freedom very few experience. A freedom that doesn't announce itself. It simply exists. Listen carefully. The real luxury of the future won't be more followers. It will be the strength not to need them. In a world where everyone is fighting to be seen, the women who choose not to will be the ones who truly own something. Their time, their privacy, their peace. And one day, we may look back and realize the wisest weren't the ones who collected attention, but the ones who never depended on it. So I'll leave you with one last question, one you may have never asked yourself. Who are you when no one is watching? Because somewhere in that answer is your truest self. And maybe the women who don't post understood that long before anyone else. And if you look closely, there's one more detail that changes everything. Their relationship with time. Women who live to post are tied to frozen moments, to the now that must be captured and shared. Every experience becomes a brief display, lasting only as long as a story. But women who don't post experience time differently. They don't rush to document. They don't feel the need to prove they were there. They simply live the moment, and that difference creates a deep divide. Some live for the image. Others live for the memory. Because personal memory carries texture. It holds feeling, scent, emotion. It stays. A photo on social media shows only the surface. Women who don't post understand something important. The moments they live and keep in their memory are far richer than any edited image made to impress. That choice quietly strengthens their sense of self, because their story is not being told through someone else's eyes, but through their own experience. There is another layer to this, something even deeper: emotional safety. When a woman doesn't display her life online, she protects what she values most. Her family, her friendships, her happiest moments stay shielded from strangers, from careless judgment, from unhealthy comparison. Most people underestimate how much anxiety comes from opening your private world to a place where anyone feels entitled to an opinion. Women who stay silent online already know this truth. Not everyone deserves access to what matters to you, and the ability to draw that line is a sign of emotional maturity that very few people ever reach. So let me ask you something. Who is truly freer? The woman who feels pressure to prove she has a perfect life, or the woman who lives fully without needing evidence? That difference matters. One is tied to the constant gaze of others. The other lives by her own values and her own inner compass. But there is an even more interesting angle here: the power of mystery in human connection. Think about it for a moment. In a world where nearly everyone shares every detail of their day, the women who don't become something rare. They become intriguing. They draw attention without asking for it. Because what is not shown leaves room for curiosity, and curiosity creates connection. It's like reading a story where not everything is explained. What remains unsaid makes you want to keep reading. That's the quiet strength of staying silent online. It turns women into more than a profile or a timeline, and it changes how they are seen. While many people exhaust themselves chasing attention, those who don't post create a different kind of presence. It lasts longer. Not because there is more of it, but because there is less. In a world full of noise, silence becomes rare, and rare things, by their nature, become valuable. This brings us to an important realization. Choosing not to post is not the same as disappearing. It is choosing how you exist. It means your identity is not shaped by algorithms, or approval, but by the honesty with which you live your own life. Now I want you to think about this for a moment. If tomorrow no one could see what you do, if the digital world suddenly went quiet, would you still live your life with the same depth and energy? Women who don't post already know the answer. They live without an audience. And because of that, their life truly belongs to them. Before we move on, I want to share something with you. Our book, The Formula of Awakening, is now available. If you feel there is something inside you ready to wake up, but you are not sure where to begin, this is an invitation. It is about changing the way you think so you can change the way you live. Discover who you can become. Start today. The link to the ebook is in the first pinned comment. You can get your copy now at a special price. Now let's continue. Ask yourself this. Do you want to be the main character in your own life? Or do you want to play a role in a performance designed for others? As we reach the end, you may notice something. This was never really about social media. It was about you, about how you live, about what you choose to share and what you choose to protect. Because in the end, the photos you never post and the moments only you remember are the ones that truly belong to you. This is the key. It's not about hiding from the world. It's about choosing with intention which parts of you are meant to be shared and which parts deserve to remain untouched, just yours. Many people live with the fear of being forgotten, as if not posting means not existing. But women who don't upload their lives have discovered a beautiful truth. Real memory is not stored on a platform. It lives in the body, in the mind, in the soul. What is unseen is often what matters most. And this leads to a simple conclusion. Not posting is often a sign of strength, clarity, and self-respect. It is a quiet message that says, my life does not need to be displayed to have meaning. That is emotional intelligence at its core. Now, I want to invite you to do something different. Write in the comments the phrase or idea from this video that stayed with you, the one you want to remember. Not for likes, but for reflection. Let's create something more meaningful than attention, a space for real thought. If this resonated with you, if it made you rethink what you show and what you keep, subscribe. This channel is not built for noise. It's for women who want depth over display. Like the video and share it with someone who feels the need to show everything. Maybe hearing this will shift their perspective. And I'll leave you with this image. Imagine the screen going dark. The sound fades.